Welcome back to The Perspective. I'm with Mike Lewis and Mike Bahawley talking about Made in Bali, as I've been corrected, not made in Bali. What was it like shooting there? There were some spectacular scenes.
Yeah, and I think it was a little bit like what just happened on our break, where I just noticed that while I was so low and you had adjusted my seat to the lowest possible. So now that we're at least...
Did you need to cover that, Mike? Did you need to cover that?
So I think that was a little bit like the shoot, just some friends doing a project together and having fun, and then also being ultimately hyper serious when we're actually rolling the camera and setting up shots.
A lot more hyper than serious, I think.
But enough serious to get the shots done.
But it was stunning, and also because I had just spent weeks going around Bali and trying to find these different locations that I absolutely kind of felt were stunning, and there were hidden locations, there are things that normally people don't see, that for me to bring this crew to these locations, which they'd never seen, it was also in the morning people going, wow, this place is amazing. I've never been to the Temple of 2,000 Steps. I've never been to this water palace before. And I think you had the same reaction too. You were kind of like...
You know, I've been to Bali probably like 100 times since I've been in Indonesia. I never had a chance, an opportunity to visit these places. And I was just like, and even for, you know, my Indonesian friends, when they see the film, they're like, where is that? No one really spends the time to go out to these places, and we had an opportunity to shoot there, and it was just gorgeous. I mean, you know, sunsets and sunrises and these amazing views. It was great. And then, you know, some of this Balinese culture that, you know, sometimes gets missed. It was very nice to see.
Who found the locations? Who scouted them?
Well, what I did was, when I registered the film through the Indonesian Film Commission, the Bali Film Commission, got all the permits and the visa through the immigration offices, that I was also working with a company in Bali called Movie Studio Bali. And one of the workers there, Rani, helped me, once I found the locations, helped me get all the permits to each location. So, I mean, there was probably 6 levels of permits throughout this whole thing, where in some of the locations where you deal with the owner of the location, the neighborhood Banjar, which is the community center, then you're dealing with Bali and then Indonesia. So, but it was me, you know, running around Bali looking for these things and asking whoever I could and that was the idea of having these little postcards or vignettes in each location that we just get into another moment of this father and son connection, but each time in a brand new location.
Yeah. I mean, how hard is it to make a film in Bali?
Generally, it went really smoothly with getting like the script approved by the proper agencies in Indonesia, by getting my own permits, by having the crew's permits checked, which was everything went so smoothly with all of that kind of stuff. And this was my own particular passion project, so it wasn't like a commercial project. And hopefully we'll find out presenting like another commercial project, which is in the works, when financing comes in, and then we'll find out that angle of when you actually come here and do a commercial project.
Yeah, Mike actually, I think he's writing a book on how not to lose it while you're shooting your first movie, aren't you? Just through his experience, you know, in Bali, which was.
But I think the attitude is, I think I didn't realize how easy I had it working on these $100 million movies, where you're dealing with, like, your gaffer had you know, done the you know, big movies, and the you know, every person had been in that crew position for years and years and years, and just knew every possible situation. Where with what we're dealing with was a lot of people who are volunteering and a lot of people who are new at their position.
Which was great. Thank you, everyone, by the way, who worked on the films.
And so, for example, like one of our coordinators, we were shooting on a street in the morning, and we had 150 Balinese extras who were doing a ceremony, which unfortunately, that whole part didn't really make it into the movie. And that night we were at a beach. Yeah, it was just the pacing of the film, and it would have taken away from your performance as well.
I don't know where you would have fitted in a massive ceremony in there.
The idea is that when they were stuck in traffic, that I now looking back on it, I wish I could have, having a little bit of director's remorse that I didn't show a little bit more of this procession and then cut inside the car. But it just so happened that was something that didn't quite make it.
You made it to a few film awards. Oh, film festivals.
So far, yeah.
So far, there's Buffalo, Asian films, Asian...
in Los Angeles,
yeah.
Washington, D.C., another festival in New York, and then we're still waiting, and then we're going to be playing at the Cannes Short Film Corner, which is coming up in a couple weeks.
This is the big...
Yeah, that's the biggest film festival, of course. Yeah. And they've got this great area, which is called the Short Film Corner, where Maddie and Bali is one of the films there. So anyone at the festival, anyone going to be in Cannes at the time, can go in and see the film.
Mm-hmm. Goa as well, just recently.
Oh yeah, we got accepted to Goa in India, and plus there's a whole slate of film festivals that are happening over the next 3 months, which we're waiting to hear back on. Tokyo, Melbourne, New York.
I mean, it just started its tour basically about 2 months ago, and so far we've had some really good response. I'm very, very happy with it. As soon as I found out that we made it into the Cannes Short Film Corner, I mean, that's every actor's dream, to be seen by the best of the best, and we're going to be there. So I'm extremely excited about that, and I'm extremely excited that Indonesia is going to be promoted there as well. I mean, it's a good chance for people to see the beauty that this place has to offer.
There's no doubt that it shows it off when you watch the film, and anyone who sees it will definitely see that.
Thank you, Patrick.
Did you...
Our DP, Patrick Tashiman, is off camera today, so he's behind there. That's why we're looking this way.
He's very close.
Yeah.
Yes.
So his thoughts are with us. Did you, as you were making it, did you think, this could get some traction?
Well, I thought it was it's a beautiful. Okay, it's a short film, right? So you have to cover a lot of ground.
It's 13.5 minutes.
In 13.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I really like the simplicity of it, because it's something that people who have family troubles, a lot of people can relate to it. And for me as well, I mean, I'm the type of person that, doesn't really like hanging on to negativity. And for that character that I was playing, he was this guy that he hated his dad without even giving him a chance. And through the whole film, you just see this guy holding on to this hatred, and he lets go and he lets go. And at the end, he realizes that his dad actually did love him, and there was no reason to actually hold on to it. So I think there's a message as well in the film that I really loved, and it's universal as well.
Yeah, and I tried to play that kind of on an archetypal level with minimal dialogue. And I think some of the feedback I've got is that when people watch it a second time, they're actually somehow, it's like night and day. The second time they're kind of able to appreciate the nuances, where the first time everything's kind of just going by rather quickly.
I'd say that's true.
So
it's because you don't know what the relationship is, but when you do, you can see the subtleties. And I think Mike, that was a hard judgment call, because it's, there's pluses and minuses. There's advantages in letting know at the start or just keeping it in suspense. And that's something that Mike had to deal with. But I like the end result. I definitely like the choice.
So we're running short on time. We could keep going for a while, but
we could.
We could always do a 2-part series.
We do a 2-part series. I don't. Now, someone would get jealous. What's next?
So
a comedy or following a drama?
Right now, Mike's here because we thought, it was such a good experience working on this film that we want to do some other projects that I'm going to let Mike talk about more.
Well, the idea is that we're going to basically look to do a feature film here, an English language feature film that would be for an international market. Mm-hmm. So this is just something that we've got various scripts at different stages. And at this point, we're just trying to put together Indonesian financing to give this project an actual start date.
Yeah, the challenge is garnering investment, and that's what we're at the stage of right now.
But we've got a producer in Los Angeles who's a friend of mine who's very interested in this project and has already run it by sales agents. So there is an interest in the market there for the purchasing of this. I mean, in the end, it's a product. We like to think, okay, we can just make a good movie, or okay, we can make an expressive movie, or okay, let's make this movie. But in the end, without knowing the market and without specifically speaking to people who are in the selling markets right now, you're going to be lost. And I do know that there are a lot of people who just think, okay, if the script is good enough, we can have a good movie, but it doesn't work that way. So this is something that we've got. This has kind of been reverse engineered, dealing with what's going to be selling in the next year.
Yeah.
And our writer-producer of Los Angeles has constructed this a really great thriller script that we're hoping to be shooting here as soon as financing comes in.
I'll give you a small spoiler. It's like Bangkok Hilton meets Domino. If you know what those two movies are. Look that up later.
Look that up.
But yeah, anyone interested in financing, you can find me on Twitter.
Just finally, the film industry in Indonesia, whenever you go see a film, they push it. Watch Indonesian films.
Yeah.
Any comment on where you think it's going now?
Well, I think over the last couple of years, Indonesia's had a big push and it has been represented quite well overseas, abroad, with the successes of the Raid 2, Killers. And people are finding that Indonesia is a really good place to work because you have these very skilled crews, who can, work, just work like the hours that you don't get overseas, and
yeah, it's a difference of, on regular film shoots, we do 16-hour days, and here they do 26-hour days.
Yeah. Basically,
which doesn't sound possible.
You get a lot of,
but actually, when you're doing them, it is possible. You just happen to start one day and finish the next.
You get a lot of manpower, and the people are realizing that when it comes down to set construction, things like that, Indonesia has some very qualified, skilled laborers and guys in all the departments. Actually, I think the international community is starting to see Indonesia as a very good prospect for making films here, and that's why you're seeing a lot of international films being shot here as well.
And I think I just wanted to say, when I shot here, because I was an assistant director on these massive shoots where you end up, the crew, you end up just working like crazy, sleeping a few hours, doing it again, that when I was shooting here, I think I just said, we're only doing a maximum of 12 hours, and then that's it, even though it's maybe at the expense of the film a little bit, but I just didn't want to be one of these guys who comes in here and just forces a crew to work 18 hours and sleep for 3 hours, which is part of the film industry. It's just kind of the nature of what happens.
But let me just quickly finish off. Because
this is going to be edited out later, by the way, because we're over time.
Final word.
Because of those successes, local films like, let's say, Comic 8 or something, that are all local, they have no really international backing as well, but they come up with a really good product as well. I mean, I'm very proud of where the Indonesian film industry is going.
Right, well, we'll finish up there, but Mike, thank you so much for joining us. You can watch Made in Made in Bali at Cannes, where it'll be showing in the short film corner. I'm Blaise Hope, this is The Perspective, see you next time.